It looks close enough to 6:30 to me, so I guess at this time, could everybody please stand?
We all do the same thing.
Every weekend.
That was fun.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, may we have a roll call, please?
Chair Rent,
Present.
Vice Chair Stanley,
Present.
Secretary Lance, present, Alderperson Courtney Day.
Here.
Commissioner Remington.
Here.
Commissioner Malecki. Commissioner Kozler.
Happy? Here.
I see non-voting member ex officio Michelle Runte
Here.
here. Kevin Schlater.
Here.
Principal Planner Marion X.
Here.
Alderperson Barber. City Engineer, no. Dale Borcher.
Here.
Okay.
Also, Tom Rhea, the arborist.
Tom,
Rhea, R-I-H-A.
Fantastic. At this time, we'll open it up to any citizens that would like to make a comment.
I'm Mike Barber, 7931 South 61st Street, Franklin, Wisconsin, in District 5. Within my district is the Cascade Creek Park off of 60th in there at the street. It's just a small little park. It just kind of runs along the creek there. But a group of citizens contacted me, constituents contacted me about the fact that there's being misused in the sense that there are youth neighborhood that use it for their all-terrain vehicles and their two-wheel vehicles, motorcycles, all that kind of thing that the kids are riding on the streets now. And they had requested just something fairly simple after talking, in the sense that put up a sign that says no motorized vehicles allowed. That would allow police then, once it was posted, they could call the police when this is happening. They're using the streets. There's a small pathway, west side of it, down around to where there's a larger entrance on 60th. So they're using the streets there as well. So I'm here to just ask for your support and getting those signs put in there. All they're asking for is some no parking sign or no motorized vehicles, different parks. So that could be posted. We really appreciate it, because if there are violations, then they could call the police. That's it. Thank you. I'm asking for your support on that.
Sure. Anybody have any comments?
I've noticed that happening a lot more in the subdivision, in my subdivision also. Is there some place those kids go that it's legal for them to be riding those around?
That'd be a question.
At Lake Ernie, they're riding them all through there too,
Are they?
at the county park by Robinwood.
I don't know if this has to be officially put on and you to act on it. At least that their concerns as well.
Okay.
I've been in contact with working on if we need signs. We are working on something for it. Yep.
If you could just let me know so I could. They're walkers. I see them all the time.
I know we got an issue with them over at Pleasant View also.
At the very least, if we do a sign, if it gets to that point, have a universal sign, very much like what we've already done in the parks. I know that we did kind of the bigger parks, the higher trafficked parks a while back. I think, how many years ago was that? Maybe 4? So, but it has no motorized vehicles on that sign.
So, yeah, that's why the PD's looking
Yeah.
over. If they build more signs, they're going to get more.
It would just be nice to have it
Yeah.
consistent. I think that was our whole goal initially.
Thank you. Any other citizens with comments? Come on up.
You guys are such a friendly group. I was here this summer, and you guys are very cordial. I'm a person that cares about tennis versus pickleball, and I know that your budget, the Parks Commission budget, is going to be set for approval or ratification on November 19th. But I also know, having worked in the corporate world, that budgets have some flexibility. Some line items come under budget, some get overspent, some are pools of money to be allocated as needs arise. So again, I'm making a plea to consider the courts over by Vernon Bar. I finally have that right, by the fire department on Drexel. Okay, I couldn't get it right last time. There are 2 courts there, and one has been converted to pickleball, and the other one has lines painted for pickleball, so it's used by pickleball a lot. But there were 10 new courts built in Lions Legend for pickleball. So in this area, even though it's been pointed out, there are other tennis courts, but they're further away. Right here in what I call the city of Franklin, there's 11 and a half pickleball courts and half a tennis court. So I just wanted to go on record again, and you'll probably hear from me again in the future, that ratio just doesn't seem right, 11 and a half to half. And I am going to work to try to find other citizens who are tennis enthusiasts to come and speak, so I'm not the only one that keeps doing this, so you have a better representation. So that's all I'm here is go on record. Yeah.
Can I get your name, please, for the minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry. Karen, Karen, Chris Haber, Gris as in Sam, HAB as in boy. Do you need my address?
Yes.
8330 South Tuckaway Shores. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time we'll close the citizen comment period. We'll jump around in the agenda. We'll go to new business B, Victory Creek Trail Mowing and Natural Resources.
All right, I can take this. I believe Mr. Birch will be present to speak at our December meeting, because he also wants to speak to Environmental Commission about this, and they don't meet in November. So my understanding, and I'll ask for a little bit of help from Marion if I get my dates and timeline wrong. I was contacted by Mr. Birch a couple of months ago. He lives near Pleasant View, and he, several years ago, and I'm not sure if this predates anybody that was on this commission, but several years ago, he came to this commission and spoke with several people within the city about the maintenance of the trails over there, and he was given somewhat of a verbal permission to sort of help with the upkeep of those trails. And in reaching out to the city attorney and Marion, we were able to kind of go back in time and find what he was referring to. The reason that he reached out to me is because he was doing some of what he considered to be the maintenance in that area, and someone notified the police department that he was there and like trimming things or cutting things, and they basically gave him kind of a cease and desist, and threatened him with a citation if they saw him doing it again. And he again was reaching out to me because new police chief, new mayor, a lot of new council members, and he was just trying to have someone recall this agreement. So since it was several years ago, a lot of things have happened in that area with regard to the trails and whatnot, and even our staffing with DPW and how they maintain the trails. So I thought the best thing to do would be to revisit that and have Mr. Birch come back in, kind of talk about what he has been doing or wants to do, and have that conversation with both the Environmental Commission and this commission to determine what, if anything, he could or should be doing on his own. So he's amicable to that, but like I said, I'm sort of teeing it up for us to think about, because our meeting is after environmental. Environmental will meet the first week in December. So he'll be at that. So we'll have their kind of notes and recommendations, and then he will be here to speak with us at that time as well. So I just wanted to kind of bring it back. I don't know if anybody was here in 2017 that might remember that conversation.
Mary was. It was 2017, right?
Yeah.
I saw your name on the minutes. That's why.
Yes. So in any event, he's very passionate about wanting to take care of the trails around that area. I mean, I thank him for that. Many people probably wouldn't as much of a go-getter to take on that maintenance on their own, but just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with what he was being allowed to do at that point and what he might still do on his own versus what we're doing as a state.
Does he want to do different than he was allowed to do now?
I'm not entirely certain what he was all doing at the time that someone called in on him, so I don't know if he was doing more than what was agreed to or if he was just doing that particular. I did not reach out to the police to get anything. I don't believe there was any sort of official report because they just sort of showed up and said, hey, don't do that anymore if we catch you again.
Did he have a daughter or something? Wasn't he doing it for the cross-country runners?
I don't know. He did not go into that kind of detail with me, just that there was this agreement and could I try to find it to prove that he wasn't just, out there kind of on his own.
Didn't we get a copy of the letter that was the contract between him and the city?
So in your packet,
Was it
there's
verbal?
some supporting materials for this. I included the minutes of the meeting where this item was heard at this commission, a draft of a volunteer agreement that was found by the city attorney's office, and a couple of other pieces of supporting material. We haven't been able to locate a common council. So your commission made the recommendation that's in your packet that to approve the release waiver, but it's something that common council would have to also verify, and I haven't found an executed those materials. So we are going to continue to look in Kevin's office, but maybe Kevin or someone else from staff wants to touch on the. Mr. Birch has been doing this work in the park, and there's been a breakdown of communication between him and staff, and it was actually the department, DPW, that contacted the police. I also contacted the coroner because some of the work that he did in the park was in natural resources. So this was the map that was included with the file that I have for this agreement from the city attorney's office, and some of those related materials. But if you look, so this is the work, the area that was discovered by staff that has trenches that were dug, and that area is in a wetland and a floodplain. So this lot's actually owned by MMSD. It's under a conservation easement, and this whole park is essentially like a floodplain conservancy. This area that's hatched in blue is a mixture of floodway, meaning it's a place where there's moving water during a flood event, and also wetland. And so MMSD owns this lots, and then the city owns some of the surrounding lots. So DPW wants to go into a little bit more detail, but this is considered a conservancy. So altering a wetland there would be something that would require extensive permitting.
And did he do that?
Yeah, he started
He
to dig
dug
in
the
the
trenches?
wetland.
Well, all he was given permission to do was cut grass.
Yeah. So like I said, it's going. It's
Oh, that's
at
yeah.
some point
But
it
he
morphed
did it.
beyond.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean, yeah.
Yes. So this is the work he was doing now that he was found to be doing. It was told stop and stop everything. He was given permission at some quasi permission, depended on if it had to go to council or not, is still up in the air for discussion. But he was only given the permission to like kind of mow the grass by the trail, like if it was overgrowing onto the trail, not to do anything outside of that. So I don't know. He said that he had a lot of extensive conversations with former Alder Wilhelm. So I don't know if it was discussions in that vein, and that he thought maybe perhaps he had permission. I don't know. So there's another moving piece to this that I don't know. Something got lost in translation that all of a sudden it went from trimming the trail overgrowth to making holes and trenches.
So two things.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I talked to previous staff, and they said it never was agreed upon beyond this that he was told to stay out of there. We've never really strongly enforced it. And the second thing is that another reason that's, I believe, what Tom's here is that we're looking at doing burns in the park. Over the winter, we're going to put something together and take it to council. So we would like to start doing some prescribed burns in that area with SD. And one thing they don't want is a bunch of trails running through it because it affects the burn. So either way, how it goes with the gentleman is kind of really past now because we want to take care of it ourselves and make sure it's ready for burn when we do it. Is that a good way to put it, Tom?
Yeah, we can't have mowed paths, or we don't want mowed paths because it stops the fire from even through. And some of the paths that we need are great fire breaks now, but they're not big enough. We actually need to go through and line them up to be able to facilitate a burn about a 3-year rotation the whole property. Pheasant scrubber that for us cut back a lot of the mowing that we had the size of the fire.
Is everyone familiar with what a prescribed burn is?
No.
Yeah, it's the proper way to manage a prairie instead of mowing it down and grasses, so the warm grasses aren't choked out early in the spring. It tries more back to the soil. Very big cost saver for us. We originally taught them because we had no idea what this would cost. Or there's something we could even possibly do. Working with them, they're like, well, contact Pheasants Forever. They came out with it. MMST digging deeper and found out, I think back in 2010 or 2014, they spent $1,000 in that prevailing comes pretty significant. Actual species that are really definitely better served as a fire knowledge. So I think the total cost per is like $15. And go up there. Mow it all down, which has no benefit. $20 from down it. Doing that the best way to get this upsets it. Shoot back with 4 or 5 more sprouts. Fire really is a great management.
So did you say he's coming next month?
Yeah, he plans to attend both the December Environmental Commission and the December Parks Commission. Discuss the matter because like to keep doing something. But I mean, from my conversations with him, he has this document, the volunteer form, signed, and I believe that is what he's using as the ability to go out and do things. However, when you read the volunteer waiver, it doesn't include any of the things that you see pictures on up there. So at some point, something morphed, and either he was doing that on his own or he talked to somebody who gave him verbal permission to do something. I'm not sure who that would be or why that would be, but that stuff is clearly not what's in here. So it was to make sure everybody was on the same page, and if we want him to completely stop, then that's, this body and environmental commission saying, we've got it under control, we don't need that, or if we want him to do something, here's what you can do, kind of thing. So
Has this area ever been considered a park?
Victory Creek Trails, it's in the park as a city park, but then the ocean is divided between the city of Franklin. There are concrete, there's paved trails there. But then there's the additional mowed trails.
We're just talking about the mode, the burn. that the concrete trails would remain?
It's just that square area.
That's my
This
question.
is where the area of disturbance is.
Yeah.
So my question is that those social trails have been mowed and developed now over the last gone. We're gonna have a lot of people. We go with a controlled burn. We want the 20-foot path for a break. That's something you can mow. Just do 20. 'Cause that's what they'll swipe with the lawnmower each direction.
Yeah, we plan on doing it ourselves that way.
Sure.
They want it mowed a certain height.
Yeah. W takes it on and we tell my guy, sorry dude, but done. Had your chance. See what you're supposed to do and more this is what happened. Yes, sir.
Just another consideration. He's put in culverts too, in ditches where trails go just without asking or anything. So,
But he may have ruined a wetland.
well, what I'm
Change
saying,
the flow of the water. But
he's just kind of doing what he wants to do, and I don't think that's a good situation with city land. So
I think it's a pretty easy discussion.
Yeah.
Some of the
And-
details were left out in my conversations with Mr. Birch.
One other thing, in the winter time when there's didn't happen this past winter too much, but when we get a lot of snow, our first priority in the public works department is to plow the roads, and then we plow the park trails. He's taken his snowmobile and packed down these trails to groom the cross country trails, I guess he's doing. But he packs them down, and then we couldn't get through them on the park paths because 3 days later, follow the roads first. When we get to the trails, we get to them, and sometimes it's over a weekend. So driving a snowmobile on parkland, I don't think that's right. But packing down the trails, and then we can't plow, or he's going to cross our trails. So, another consideration.
Goes back to the Alderman was here for. So authorize the park.
Aren't they putting carpets
Oh,
down on your trails
Yeah,
too?
that's
Didn't you
right.
about that once?
There's something mentioned in this documentation. That was before my time, so I don't know.
I don't know that it was him, but they were putting carpets across the paved trail, snow on cross country skiers. I didn't know he was involved in
That was
cross country skiers. What I remember is doing it for the cross country runners along the top, along the north side by the woods, and down along that, down the trail from there. And that's all I would remember that he was asking to do.
I think it's easy. Do you have any comments? Excellent. Well, I guess we'll go back to the agenda. We'll go with letter A in the new business, and we'll go with park signage. Oh, yeah, we'll go back to that after this one.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
What are we on?
We're gonna go do business letter A.
Okay.
My ADHD.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Oh, sure. Do we have a second for that? Sounds great. All in favor?
Aye.
Who seconded?
Oh, Counselor.
Everybody says yes. Excellent.
You want to go to the signage?
Yeah, we'll do the signage. We'll get the new stuff out of the way.
Okay, these were two requests. So Commissioner Remington contacted by a member of the community about signage in
Historical Society.
Yeah. Okay. The email is in here about the sign that's in Lion Legend Park, and then separately, Commissioner Land had commented about kiosks, Kalos Park. So they're bundled under the one agenda item, and go first.
The supports on the side are what falling down. I don't know. Only sign. Currently, Lions.
What's wrong with it?
Falling over.
It's falling.
rotting at the
over.
bottom.
See
Oh,
the supports
supported.
on the bottom?
okay.
The Lions Club paid for the sign. Was there a maintenance?
And there's a smear through.
I see under the area. Is there a maintenance agreement with the sign, or does it the city's responsibility?
We've never looked at it. But, I mean, I'm not saying it shouldn't be or it should be, I'm just saying we've never looked at it.
Things get donated. Responsibility of the city to cover the costs. Maintenance, they're set aside.
Historical, since it's the historical area sign, is there like a separate fund for that, or?
Fix it.
This one's pretty rotted out.
Is this any different than, like, they got 2 buildings painted, one here and one last year? I don't know where they get money for that. But it's just handle that.
We might need
The Lions Club, did anybody approach them about?
I thought he said the Lions Club would be willing to help. He thought because of the park that he wanted.
I mean, it sounds to me like they should probably connect with W, because if they're gonna dig it out, and
Yeah, you probably want. I don't know if you guys do environmental permit.
Do you want to or want to say Lions?
I thought it was said the historical society.
Donated
No,
by
the
the
Lions
Lions
Club.
Club.
Oh, I can't see that. Okay,
Yeah, right.
all right.
oh, okay.
But the Lions Club donates all the time to city things, right? I mean, that's what they do. They help out, right? I mean,
But should the Lions Club come there and sign?
Yeah,
Or
that
sign.
sign was put
Or
there
it's
and then
on
also
parkland.
promotes their organization. So we could go to them and say, it's reached its lifelong, you know, and it needs to be replaced or taken down. We'd love it to stay there. Would you upkeep it, fix it, right? Could the city approach the Franklin Lions Club?
That sounds like a good idea.
Or just circles.
Be a starting point. Maybe the Historical Society could contact the Lions Club, then they make a plan to replace it, then we work with
Well,
W to get it
he did
installed.
say that they would probably, we wanted to know if he should be in charge of fixing it or if they should, anybody can.
Looking
Right.
at it, probably need.
Side.
It does.
Yeah, I think it's.
does anyone know how old it is?
Okay, if it's place, come up with a good sign and just build a Lions Club.
I like the historical.
I would say work with them.
Yeah.
There and make sure it's mutually agreed upon and then get
Yeah,
it
and if the
installed.
Lions Club pays, it's awesome.
So the DPW will contact the historical society
I can.
to ask them about working with Lions.
Yeah, I might say that now that it's been brought to the council's attention, this definitely needs to be replaced, right?
I
So,
would think.
so
I mean, it looks like it's rotted away. Left side.
So the ask is that instead of taking it down all the way, could we replace it and go back to the original people that put it in and ask them if they'd like to replace it with their information on it?
But you know, it is a good thought to, if something's donated to the city, that you would think there should really be a rule. Who's gonna maintain something like, I mean, I'm not saying just a sign. Benches are put in and a lot of other things are given to the it the city. So I'm just saying it might be something to think about in the future.
MOU.
What's an MOU?
Memorandum of Understanding between the two parties.
Who puts the signage in that?
Well, that's what, I brought it here because there's 3 kiosks. There's one in the entrance on 42nd Street, that's this one. The one with the papers that are kind of curled up, that is on the top of that arboretum, where the wetland is in the middle by Kayla's. And then there's one more I didn't take a picture of, and that is coming into the Franklin Woods off of Pewes, about 42nd and Pewes. And that one has some information on the Emerald Ash Borer. So I just thought we should bring it here. They're very nice kiosks, but like the ones all wrinkled up and old, and maybe just talk about what should be in here and who should be the ones that, you know, put the information in there, because it would be nice to have some good information in kiosks. People are in there every day walking around. And like this one, Stay on the Trail, Poison Ivy. That would be a good one to be on 42nd, off of 42nd entrance. I don't know how much poison ivy there is going around that circle, but there is in the woods on the trail.
That's probably laminated.
It is laminated.
Yeah,
That's
and
it's
that
not
makes a big difference. Otherwise,
right. And I just think it would be really nice if we could figure out a way to put some good information and once a year look at them if the things need to be replaced or if things need to be added. I don't even know how you get in them, if there's a key to open them or there is like a glass partition in the front.
Years ago, I painted that frame. You can see the lighter colored inside frame there, and I redid the glass or something. I can't remember what I did, but I just screwed it. It might have been on a hinge at one time and deteriorating, and I think I just screwed it in. So I got to take probably out and replace all this.
what is that other stuff all about?
About trees, facts about trees. It kind of looks like an Eagle Scout project, to be honest.
That's what I wondered if it was a project.
Doesn't it? We don't know the history of how these got there. Fine. Little kiosk.
We were there before Kayla's Playground. There used to be another one going into the woods also.
That would be a good place. That would be a good place for one going in off of the playground.
I think it would be seen by more people for
Yes,
sure. Because
for sure.
especially with I think the Pewes entrance have a lot of.
No.
Because I mean, I think it's local, maybe from those different neighborhoods around there, but definitely right by. The problem is getting it up, putting all the stuff in and out. You know, who's responsible for that? I think it was a scout. Don't you think it's a scout that? But they should have had a little brass.
Plaque on it.
Right, a plaque. I know the birdhouses around the wetlands all have a plaque on them.
Yeah.
They're not in great shape. Going into the ground, I think. Getting rotten.
Well, I don't know if we want to talk about it. We have suggestions, like the map might be a good thing to go in at least one of these maps of all the different parks. And I do think a thing on poison ivy should be in there. The Lyme disease probably would be good. I can't even read from here what some of those other ones are.
This park has, the other one is about Trillium. This park has like a really well established.
Oh, Trillium?
Yeah, and
In
make
there,
it
yeah,
native to
yeah.
the community.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to put in there, don't pick it, they're
Yeah.
wild, that kind of thing, so.
And
And
we say they have to be laminated,
I think so too, just because they dry up and curl.
we just open it up.
They're falling apart. Driver.
But we have others that are empty. So it would be nice to use them. They're part of the park.
Now,
But you said these are all falling apart.
Well, I guess they're not at the point of falling apart, but they're gonna need work, so. Honestly, that hasn't been on the top of the priority list. If things, park's running,
Right.
and we don't even put stuff in here, but go around with the information, so. You're gonna need work. It's kind of like that Eagle Scout Bridge at Jack Workman. I mean, it started to rot and kind of made the not to work on it. No, rebuild. These are going to be to that point.
Well,
how about if we hit up the Lions? We're always
Oh.
looking to take care of kiosks in the park. Make sure that they're all posted properly and
I feel like if the commission were to put information in there, you have to life cycle manage it. So you have to have some kind of schedule where we would check back 6 months or a year, whatever
once
the
a year.
disposition of information is in the city, and take it down if it's obsolete and leave it or update it.
But isn't that what we should be doing?
We should.
but
And
if we don't have time, why not pass it on to
But shouldn't we give them some guidance, what we'd like to have in there?
could the city print large maps laminated that have made already, and at least minimally get that and the QR code up and get rid of all that other stuff as a starting point?
I'm not sure about laminating. The clerk's office has. Yes, we do. But then
The poster that was printed for the event that we had was nice, but it didn't have any kind of protection, and if it had rained that night, we wouldn't have had a poster anymore. So I put it into a large glass frame for the evening that I found, but it wouldn't last, once moisture got in there, if it's not laminated.
we can ask about.
Send it out to someplace that does it. It's not that expensive.
This kind of thing, like,
So if I'm hearing, we said we should have a minimum of map. I really think we should have the stuff about the poison ivy and the limes with all the people that are in there. And then maybe something about Trillium.
QR
I don't think so.
We should get the QR code too, so that people can just use their phones and direct them to the park's webpage.
Who's gonna be? If DPW doesn't have, can't rely on it all the time.
Right.
Only is
was
Well,
the
there's
Eagle
that person.
Scout project. Perhaps
most scout
Responsible.
projects that I've dealt with in the past, great 5 or 6 years. Because there's no maintenance that comes in with them. It's unfortunate that that's how.
Well, I live right there, and I'd be happy to go and check them once a year. But I don't have a way to get into it there.
Neil said they're just screwed in, right?
Yeah, I could do that. I mean,
So how would we get, if we get this laminated and we get those other two, I don't know if you want Welcome to the Franklin Woods, what do we exactly want that we could get these things laminated and then get them somehow to the W so they can put them in us?
Go out on the limb. I don't like all these little laminated signs. It looks like
I don't even know what they are.
it looks shoddy. And I would rather just have one sign put on there, higher quality,
That
and
says
then just walk away.
one thing with all the rules, or what?
It would have the information that we're. If we're not concerned about what's in the middle, it should be at the end. And if you want to post it, we've already gotten that far. Didn't read the first side. I'm sure it's all not.
Well, none of them are in the middle. They're all on the ends of the trail.
I would rather just see comprehensive. Whether if it goes on a post, kiosks, on.
Where would you put it? Which
At
kiosk?
the trailhead. I would eliminate the kiosk, to be honest with you.
Oh, you're saying to,
If they're starting to rot and if they're starting to fall apart, you're going to have to pull them out of the ground.
are they that bad? Yeah.
Probably lasts.
Rather just put a 2x or 4x4. Put up a sign with a bubble. Watch out. Trail etiquette rule. That's just.
I think they should be park signs. And like they have along the, just what we have in Franklin.
Maybe we can circle back.
I'm just one kiosk add on is fine.
Except the location, which one do you choose? Because it seems like the best location would be right at Kalis, where you're going into the
Yes.
woods. And they're up at the top, and they're at the other two entrances. And the majority of people would see them going in.
So take them all out. Line we one with park information.
The information about the Lyme's disease, poison ivy would only be by the woods.
I
Would
know,
need to have
it
that by
isn't-
Crest or 35th Street.
And it's not there. It's not on the other signs, it's up on the top of the circle. Well,
So I would say to vote to take out Crest first. Kiosks, they're falling apart. And have some kind of sign at the entrance of the off and off a. You really don't need information coming from Crest or 35th Street, particularly 35th Street. I mean, that's not even a sidewalk there. I mean, who enters that way? Very few people.
right.
So maybe if you have 4 eyeballs that go on it, then is it really worth having a kiosk?
And that's where this is.
Oh, I thought this was off Butte.
No, this is at the, around the wetland,
Oh, the
Up on
35th
top.
Street.
off 30.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting an audience, so why even you want to put your signs where you have an audience?
I just think the kiosks are nice, but they're not being used like this. So, I don't know, we bring it back. Or,
What does DPW think?
I don't know. I don't like to say we don't have enough time for things, but I started here like 14 and a half years ago, and since then we haven't added any people. but we've added parks, Hills Playground, we've added Pleasant View Pavilion and that park. We've added parks and stuff, but no more people. It's hard to take care of stuff when you don't have enough people.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to put a digger on the DPW at all. I'm just looking for a solution, if we could find a solution on how to take care of it. Perhaps, like somebody said, maybe the Lions would do it, or I don't know.
If you tell me what information to put in there, I can do that, no problem. I can frame them up, and that's not a problem. But, to rebuild the things, that takes time. It can be done, sure, but I would suggest anything going in any park, just make sure it's maintenance from now on. Just, signs, anything. Everything's a little maintenance. For these, I don't know.
That's the thing with the QR code. You're driving your audience to the web page, which is very easy to adjust and make changes to. Whereas we start printing paperwork, we do have to manage the content and make sure that it gets taken down. But it'd be great to see the insert up there, wouldn't it? Like just for a little while to kind of educate folks that go through that woods. I know it's used quite often. So if this is still good, I might suggest just putting in the map, the QR code, leave the Franklin Woods and ivy, and maybe that's protecting us from lawsuits. I don't know. That poison ivy and prevent Lyme disease. Maybe that was the intent of that at one point. Who knows? But the other two, yeah, it doesn't make sense to have them at trailheads that aren't actual trailheads.
But none of them are actual trailheads.
She's saying this one is.
This one, there's 3 of them, and they're all in places. The main place people go into the woods is from Kayla's Playground. And you said that they used to have one there. They don't anymore.
No, I don't think there's one.
And I see lots of kids.
Okay.
I see lots of kids walking in the woods, and I'm just like, oh my God, I hope those kids don't get poison ivy.
Is there any way that we could use, remove the crust or the one at 35th and install it somewhere else? Right by Kayla there as you enter the... Or are they just dilapidated and not used?
Well, honestly, I wouldn't mess around with them because they're messing around with 4x4 breakers.
Just a thought.
This is embarrassing.
It is kind of. Because the parks look so nice. Don't you see that?
Yeah, I'll just take them all down.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Take it out.
Okay, we made a decision. Take them all down.
Take them all down, but don't people, they deserve to know about this stuff.
Well, why couldn't we have the high school do some printing on, 3D printing
Where you
and the
gonna
middle
put it?
school? Just the standard caution poison ivy and prevent Lyme disease
But where?
at the 2 trailheads. Those simple signs. Nothing.
So are you saying 42nd Street and the Franklin?
Yeah,
right
right.
in Kayla's?
The Putes.
Putes?
It goes right into the woods, off Putes.
Okay.
And then as you go west from Kayla's into the woods, where you were collecting all those non-perishable food.
Well, probably more people come in off of 42nd than off of Putes. Because they're coming in from the subdivision.
Had a path in the woods. Actimos, place.
What's
That's
that?
where the poison ivy is.
It's in the
Over
woods.
by the path.
Right. All I'm saying is there's 3 paths.
Just going through.
There's that, and then it swings off to the left to go out on 42nd, or it swings off to the right to go out on Putes. And people can come in from all areas.
Or just
So
put
it
the
goes
sign
to the
in the middle.
subdivision.
You can't put signs everywhere, otherwise it's
Yeah.
gonna
No,
look like
I
it
know,
does.
I realize.
Yeah, I mean,
What's wrong with the dolls?
What was that?
I said, what's wrong with the dolls?
it's information overload and nobody reads it.
Well,
Yeah, in reality, if you're in a park, everybody's covered by recreational, even a path and poison ivy.
Isn't that how kids learn about
Yeah.
poison?
It's
Maybe I'm old school, but that's
yeah. I mean, put a sign up at the most common entrance or in the middle, with the 2 or 3 things that are important, and call it a day.
Rip everything down.
If it's falling apart, take it down.
So
It will be.
It's cleaner looking at in the long run.
Yeah.
You know, better to have nothing than.
I would say take everything out of that one, and then whatever it is that we have the high school create or we create with our map and the QR code, then just put that in there. But I would, the next time that somebody is near that sign, if they remember to bring a screwdriver with them and just take all the old out.
Or if I knew the size of that sign, I could do a nice poster, whatever, it could be done on canvas or something, and make it like a permanent thing with the map and all these things on here to be aware of these things. One-time deal.
but it's in the wrong spot. It's the only thing, it's in the wrong spot. A one-time deal would be
They
great.
had me up until that point. Yeah, I'm with you,
I'm just
because
saying,
I'm thinking marketing too. I was like, yeah, get our
just
get our
one-
info up somewhere.
one
This
big
looks
thing.
perfect, but if it's not being passed by, what's the point?
Yeah,
Knows it.
I've never seen this.
Yeah.
We ready to move on?
What's our final conclusion? Because I don't know what it is.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I would make a motion that we remove the materials from here at a minimum until a time when we can dispose of the 3 signs.
So all kiosks remove materials from?
Yeah, remove the materials, and then when they get time in their schedule, that these would be removed.
Are we having the parks visit? I know that didn't happen, but is that no longer?
I mean, if you guys wanted to reschedule it, we could try to do that, but in spring. Yeah.
So we're not going to add any new signs, we're just going to remove the material, we're not going to post anything.
Wait a second.
I made a motion that we would remove all this old information, leave them empty until a time when DPW would be able to remove the.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it.
Now somebody will come. Why aren't there signs up? There's poison ivy.
Sucks.
But at that time, we'll be prepared to say, this is where we need them. Put one here. You know, the next Eagle Scout.
We'll move back to unfinished business. Letter A, an update on parks maintenance.
Before winter, before it got colder here, we got some painting and staining done. Lions, Legend Park, the restrooms were painted inside. Ken Wendell, the gazebo was stained. So nice. Vernon Barg, the inside of the pavilion was stained. Parts of it that needed it. And the 88th Street, the Forest Hills Circle Bridge was stained. I don't know if you guys know. Yeah, no.
No.
It's a little bit south of Legend Park, and 88th Street, which is a dead end coming off of Forest Hill, and Forest Hill off of Legend. So it's, if you're walking in Legend Park, you can kind of make a loop from Legend Bridge to Bridge. So, anyways, as far as winterizing, we got all the drinking fountains all winterized, and we're a little more time to all the restrooms, and then we'll be taking down the windscreen and all the nets all trying to
What are the plans for the restroom? Kayla?
we'll handle it like we've done in past years. Leave one family restroom open all year round,
One that's facing.
facing the south. I'll put a sign there that's pointing to that saying that restroom.
As long as we maintain the, for some reason, we go bad cold street or something, and it's super cold, then we'll lock them up. Just keep the pipes
Could
freezing.
you let me know if you do that? Sometimes I'll get notifications on Messenger on Facebook asking. So that would be good to have that knowledge that I can.
I mean, I don't think we've had to.
No, I don't.
We haven't had a problem, but because there's no insulation in the building, it's a concrete building, it presents problems. Melts the snow on the roof and then it comes down, there's a ton of ice. I mean, there's problems, but it's ice.
Could I give a little update on Kayla's Playground? So I don't know if most of you know that we will open July 1st, and we had a blessing from Father Aaron from St. Mary Parish. And here in Franklin Neighbors magazine, they had a nice little write-up about Kayla's Playground and that little blessing we had. So that was a nice little surprise. Chad Kafka from school district did this article for us. So have that highlight. Kayla's Playground once again. Not every resident in Franklin gets Franklin Neighbors. It's
Yeah,
one of
why
those-
is that?
I don't get it.
I don't.
Never seen that before.
Well, only neighborhoods that have an age.
Well, my neighbor gets it, and I don't get it.
We have an HOA.
You don't get it?
Oh, I'm the president.
Wow,
It's
you,
time
you
to
can
move.
call Emma Gazinski.
Sucks
Yeah.
to be Emma.
I'm surprised. But anyway, so that was a nice little article. It should really go out to all residents. I believe it should go out to all residents. But that's just. I had the opportunity to speak to some of the third graders over at Southwood Glen Elementary School about universal design of playgrounds. So I presented to them on a Monday, and then we had a little field trip to Kayla's that following day, and they were running around with their little clipboards and taking notes about inclusive and accessible areas on Kayla's. So I just got an envelope here today with all these little thank you notes. So that was heartwarming. They were very appreciative of giving the insight at the world through a different for accessibility. So that was kind of cool. And then lastly, I had an opportunity to educate some of the future educators at Wisconsin Lutheran College. It's been my 8th year going there and speaking to 2 separate classrooms on having inclusive classrooms. So that was another opportunity. I just wanted to share that those are kind of the things that, Kayla's has. Not only is it a park within Kayla's or in Franklin, but it also has these arms that stand out. So I just wanted to share that with the mission, and also that all of your support for the flooring that was put in, because traffic. So a lot more people come. Again, thank you for all your efforts. Top notch for all of these that do.
Go to letter B, budget and finance update.
Okay, so there's materials in your packet that were provided by the finance director for you to review. I do also want to touch on this commission put forward a request for park permitting software included in the 2025 budget, and it was not included in the mayor's budget proposal. So we can try again next year, but the issue really comes down to there isn't staffing to use it, so getting to the point where the capacity to use something like that we're at. I know there's also some other discussions about other citywide permitting software changes. that I'm not privy to, so it might be wrapped into that, but the item did not move. So then in September, the Director of Finance provided some information to you, and I think, did anyone go over this at that meeting, or were you, my understanding was you were waiting for me to go through it. Okay, I'll do that really quickly. Basically, at the moment, there's about $5 million of impact fees on hand, and there's not a current specific plan to use them, but there is the trail recommendation remains ongoing of spending down park impact fees through the construction trails because they qualify for the highest level of match. So there's some planning work that we probably should do around that, but the year-to-date expenditures, so just general, the general operating revenue year-to-date is about $25,000. So that was a factor in evaluating some of those permitting softwares, and we're kind of the lowest tier of a community that would even consider using software to be aware of. And there's the general information about the budget here, but capital improvement expenses were, the budget for this year was $4,280,000, and we're over that year to date currently. And then the next table in the packet is a table of impact fees. So I can go through this in detail, but basically the highlighted items are what's been accumulated up to this point.
Up to this point, or up to June?
Up to, yes, up to June. So, well, this stuff doesn't get reconciled as often as you might think. So having something in September is kind of typical, and then we'll get the fourth quarter in January, February. So this is still the most current information. So I do think it would be worthwhile. So one of the projects that the planning department is going to be undertaking is an update to our comprehensive master plan in 2025, which will include starting to work on pieces of the comprehensive outdoor recreation. We did not budget for a new impact fee study, but I do think we need to, as a commission, as a department, have a conversation about whether the Corp actually reflects the park's goals for the city, because the Corp is what's driving the intake of these impact fees, and then also how they should be spent. So I think it's more than past due for an update. We went through that recommendation process a couple years ago, but now the park system, as Dale has pointed out, and as I think we're all aware, is there's this big plan for a big park system, but not really a clear picture of how it's supposed to be created, what staffing. So that'll be grounded, hopefully, not hopefully. That information should be grounded in things like population projections and an understanding of the desired future growth pattern of the city. So some of what's in the Corp now is like, you think there might be growth here, but that growth hasn't been realized, those kinds of things. So looking at what trends might be there. So, but just in terms of the immediate expensive impact fees, I need to get you more information about that. So I'll bring an update in January or February. I'll check back with maybe she can talk a little bit more about how it's all kind of where we're at. So, okay. So the next page is just an overall total balance on the impact fees. So in the first column, the ending balance as of September 30th, $5,095,404. Again, you have to budget. And then there's a list of capital expenses from DPW.
Does the city have money to match project?
I don't believe that was like specifically prescribed beyond trails in the upcoming budget, but that's a question for Danielle. So yeah, I think it would be a good idea to start making some recommendations. The thing about impact fees, so some of you were new since that discussion, they can't be used on maintenance. So they must be used on projects that benefit the future population, new population, that's not development. So they're supposed to be building out a community. We can go more in depth on that.
Sure,
Next
because
time.
wasn't some of this all going to be on Glenmore Park? We were going to build a trail around it.
Yeah. So I don't know what the status of that project is as of right now because staff, it's kind of on you guys until there's some clarity about who's going to be the partner. They would have to be confirmed by now.
That they were outsourcing that position until.
Yep. So currently, actually, Mike Paulos has come to this commission to help with some of the design projects for parks items. And he is and they have, that's Grafe, the contract. And then there's a number of others. One
So
left.
shouldn't they be with this?
Yeah, actually, literally just today, there's been status of the project. So there was a lot of turnover that happened all at once. Might still getting up to speed, so yeah, it's
For
going
us,
to be.
That's the most logical use of the immediate tax fees that was going to be on that trail
Yep.
going around the water tower, or the one that was across with the agreement with the hospital. It talked about that one going through the marshland
Aurora.
behind Aurora.
I don't know that unless I missed something. I don't know that we've determined that that would be eligible for impact fees, but it is something we considered. So Glenn might have gotten farther with it than I didn't. So, but the park itself, the Water Tower Park, entirely, all of the new pieces of it, if they're not part of the water towers. So, yeah. I need to get you an update for that. So I had put it on this agenda, but you guys are here to do an update on 116th or?
Bids that real close.
What did you say?
The bids, they went out for bid. Or how they came.
I just had a question about when you say water tower, that's the one, the Glenmorrow, right? What about the park that was on the south side? Is that gone? That's no longer on the table, or
South by Oakwood Road?
Yeah.
like on the
Owns
south?
that land.
The southwest
Would be
part,
Oakwood.
where we
Yeah.
purchased the land,
Yeah.
they hadn't even started the planning for that, right?
Do we wait until the corp is, or how does
Well,
that money go toward that, or is it because we're not moving with budgeting for DPW to take on another park, or how does that work?
so the purchase of that park actually, it's in here as that was done with impact fees. Was the Southwest Park and the trails. The recommendation from that study was to land bank it until there was a chance to do a design process. So I think given the capacity of the city right now, getting through the court is going to have precedence. Designing a park of that size is going to require, probably need to be contracted out. Well, must be contracted out.
Had plans for putting the trails there before the park was designed. It would come off.
That's the Ryan Creek Trail, so that's a separate amenity, even though it's. You're talking about the trail that was run kind of from 168. Yeah. So.
Across
The Franklin
across
Savannah,
Forest Hill
right?
or-
Yeah.
By the Franklin.
Yep. So there's a concept for that was adopted, but that, I mean, it hasn't moved forward in construction. Separately, some pieces of that trail are being worked out that are occurring the right of way with new ones. But that's happening through lots of walk slash trail. So
That one's a bit more complicated. coming to fruition. Yeah.
Piece by piece.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there is a whole list of trails that I think would be a good idea to sit down and so how are we doing on everything? But Water Tower Park is on hold. Hi.
Somebody had mentioned to us earlier before our historical meeting about the sign on the property. Jim was lucky was going to stop him, but he was sick. He didn't feel very good.
Oh.
So I didn't know if there's any questions that, I don't know if you're going to talk about it here tonight or something.
We actually already did.
Dale knows more than anything about this stuff.
Yeah, DPW is going to reach out to the Historical Society about the sign, about a possible replacement.
Okay, DPW is going to talk to
Kevin.
us.
Kevin.
Yeah, we'll reach out this
Oh,
week. We'll get a hold of Jim.
Sorry about
So,
that.
yeah, no problem. Yep. We'll reach out this week, get talks going about it.
Yeah. For some odd reason, this last year, just
It's all rotted out.
thanks for looking, buddy.
Okay. We'll jump to letter C.
Can I just ask something about the pushing off the parks? Did you have to push it off to 20 what? Next year?
I mean, I would
Budget?
suggest
What?
that if you continue to prioritize that we ask them. But right now, they're mayor didn't include it in the budget.
Oh, I think ask.
The reservations.
And you said there wasn't staff to take care of it. I thought the rec department said that they'd be willing to take care of that.
Not to handle our full reservation. There would be a lot of financial reconciliation too. So they have the same system that I would recommend using. But just in terms of like the volume of permit revenue, it's not, that needs a person. So, and also someone who knows how to use software. The clerk's office is not on board, and a designated staff person. So when we initially kind of were talking about bringing it forward, there was some discussion about creating someone with more administrative responsibility to the commission, to the parks in general. That is that conversation. So
it has to be full everything. And just pickleball going to the rec department.
no, so that is on your agenda. There is a discussion about what do you want to do about league reservation for next year. The rec department will be putting in their requests probably in June. Presumably there's other people that would make a request. But in terms of actually like taking individual permit reservation.
So that will be on our agenda in January for the, sticking with the previous policy where we said, you know, like municipal can make reservations, but not citizens, correct? Until we have the software, except for special use, which would be like that company party that they had and they rented the pavilion, or a tournament or some kind or something like that. So you wouldn't put on our agenda then a citizen wanting to rent the pickleball courts then, moving forward until the next budget year.
No, I mean, there wouldn't be a way to do it a one-time rental, like with collective. And the language that you adopted for this was basically, I think we could revisit.
Oh, Sam Chrissy?
Yeah.
In the mornings? Yeah.
But,
And then there's the high school person.
yeah, in the high school. So that is on your agenda as item B2. Is just if you wanted to make changes to how that was handled, I think that's something worth discussing. But there isn't way to do like one-off reservation. So it would
It just
be,
seems like, oh, with so many people,
I
we're
know,
losing money.
But you're making
losing
it sound
so
like it
much
wouldn't be
money.
cost effective, it wouldn't be, but yeah. Yeah,
Well, since we started there, we'll go to park facilities, reservations, permanent policies. We'll start with bathroom closures.
that was Commissioner Loomis's question about bathroom closures during
it was,
Lance's. Sorry,
Yeah.
I have another friend named.
that's all right.
Sorry.
No, I know that it's pretty much the season's over for people being in the parks as much as they were, but it's really hard when you have 40 to 50 people out there playing a sport through the rec department and there aren't any bathroom facilities open because of apparently vandalism. Is that what's going on? And if I think, I know my husband had called you, Kevin, that if things were going to be closed for a significant amount of time, if portalets need to be put up or something, even for just the little kids that are hanging out in the parks. I don't think they've had to close Kalis, but they've had to close the one at Vernon Bard and the one at Lions Legend in the last month or so. And people have been going over to the library. I don't know how much they like that, but it would be nice to have some backup if they're going to be closed for an extended period of time. Did they catch the kids? But you can't stay? Okay.
It's being worked on.
Okay.
Sorry, what happened with the bathroom?
Pleasant.
Was that?
At Pleasant?
Lions Legend and Vernon Bard. I think summer will open up. And
I know
Maybe more
now.
monthly.
I'm just saying,
and then
if it would happen
expand.
again, we should have a backup plan if they're going to be closed for a certain amount of time.
Is it a police case?
I don't want.
On to 2025 league reservation policy.
But is this something you want to revisit in terms of changing the approach to it, since there won't be the permitting software? I'm waiting at least. Just leave this.
My only recommendation is that you charge a whole lot more out there. You're gonna reserve something that's associated.
I will say, as part of, I'm on the finance committee as well, and as part of our budget discussion this year, there was a discussion about, and specifically that we are way under all of our neighbors, and many things have not been looked at in multiple years, if ever. So there was an ask that all department heads and staff go back and look at their fees, see when the last time they were updated, and potentially sort of bring them up to speed with the times. In some cases, might be a bit of sticker shock depending on how long it's been since they've been adjusted, but as a way to bring in additional revenue to the city, because we're just kind of bleeding money at this point with the amount of time that we're taking for the maintenance of things and getting such little in return for people renting them out. So it is being worked on and discussed.
By council?
It'll be whoever is, council ultimately would vote to approve any changes, but it would be whichever department oversees that fee schedule. So if, in this instance, I think it sits with Parks, that's it, or
This commission has done that in the past.
then it sits with us. If you would want to, would make that recommendation, and it would come then before council to adjust. So now is the time, because it is.
Because we've already done that and then been told we can't get the software to manage it. So our hands are tied. We can't get funds for the city.
There's
there's two schools of thought. Either you make everything free, there's no reservations, and it shows up city does, or, you can't purchase a screen that's repair the courts, or you can charge money, make it worth your time, help replace the costs there. Why you? Because in reality, it's a cluster. Everything that goes on, and it leads to the fact that there needs to be a separate department that either controls the parks, or there needs to be more staff put in DW that's set aside to maintain everything. If we keep adding and adding and adding, not only are you putting more on the plates of Kevin and Dale, but then you're going to lose staff, go someplace else where they're funded better, or you're going to lose the quality that you have working. Make everything go downhill and then replacing them like Oak Creek. What I really want.
Well, I was going to say that, you know, she's not here tonight, but if we could partner, I know that Park and Rec is separate from the city, and that makes it really hard because they are collecting a lot of funds for a lot of the park things. And I know they're donating money for the windscreen. But, you know, they get several $1,000s in the season for some of the things that the city's not getting anything.
All the money we couldn't get for those pickleball that other cities are charging for.
How are we doing for rental of pavilions? Cross comparison with other cities, are those? Are we still under?
Really? That seems like it's pretty high charge.
I would agree.
I think what happens is, and don't quote me on this, but because I don't remember who said it at the finance committee meeting, but I believe what happens is when you get your deposit back, I believe what we're giving back is well above what other communities give back. So it's not necessarily what we're asking for. It's when we give the deposit back, we're giving back more than a lot of other municipalities. So net at the end is less.
But then you would essentially be charging more if you're not giving back the entire.
Correct, but you wouldn't
fee.
you wouldn't have the optics of raising the fee. You're just, because that money's going out from the individual at the outset. They just getting his back at the end.
Are our rentals at full capacity?
Many weekends are booked full.
All of our pavilions?
Not every weekend, but a lot of them are.
Oh, so that's,
full.
I mean, people are using it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
If we had software, we could get a report that told us how much their
Right.
money is.
Look at that.
There
See?
you go.
But I think that they
Well,
would have to give us calendars, and we'd have to look cross-reference all 5 of the calendars.
Well, they should know
The
because
finance
department should have that. They should have that information now. Yeah.
There, in the past, I've been able to get a report about the number of office. So,
Right.
Have you had turnover in the finance department too?
I mean, not in the last year, but
Move on to letter D. Park marketing materials.
I have nothing to do.
I will note there is funds left in the from the tourism commission, so if there's the funds to do, don't recall the apologize, but the process for that would actually be to submit the request to the development director. You can reimburse out tourism commission.
I have the printed ones that I took to the community engagement event in my vehicle, and I'm going to bring them. I think they're meant to go to the library or be available here at the hall for the
What?
pickup. The packets that we had, the printed up.
The rental. Oh. In rental.
So I have the case that she gave me the whole case when I came here to get the
Okay.
poster, and I was like, oh, okay. But I didn't give them out. 3 people asked for them. We had an example out. So as far as the marketing materials are, I have them to bring back to you. 3/4 of a case. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a spot for that.
Who's gonna take them to the library?
I had dropped them off, but
Well, only because in January, don't they have the permits?
yeah, the permit
Start
rentals open January.
Yes, sir.
Just going back on the park rentals, for 2023, we had 35 at Vernon Bar, 34 at Lions Legend, 33 at Pleasant, 26 at Ken Wendell, and Keela's had 22 rentals and 9 scheduled visits. So that's for 2023,
What are scheduled visits?
where they just let us know that they're going to be coming in with usually a group of kids and renting the facility.
Okay.
Scheduled
Yeah.
visit.
Yeah.
You know, kind of give us a heads up.
Yeah.
It's a courtesy just so
Sure.
that
Yeah.
there's toilet paper. And groups are usually really good with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really great for letting us.
And those are rented at $250 each time? All of those
No,
areas?
it varies.
Different areas,
Pleasant
right?
View is higher.
So it could be half day or full day. So potentially, if they were all at 250, it'd be 5,600, which is a drop in the bucket, really, right? As far as fees are concerned. And then we have the baseball diamond. Do they cost $4 still or 10?
That's, well,
It's 10.
maybe collect $100.
We'd love to make money for the city of Glen, but we need the tools to do it.
Well, welcome to their community engagement.
I can talk to that because I did the majority of the planning for it. We got a thank you from Volition and from the health department for participating. They said that there were over 2,000 people came to the event. Mary was there. Carol. I called her Carol all night long and didn't realize till I got home that she's Karen. So then I emailed her. I'm so sorry.
She was busy.
And Susie were there, so thank you. And then also Shelley came.
Mary was there.
Mary.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Karen and it was great, wasn't it? We had great weather.
It was great.
The thing looked great. I sent a picture to the city, so I don't know if you want to put it in a newsletter or something to say that we were there. It was great to talk to everybody. There was a lot of interest. So many times people said they put that center flyer. They like, I know that it's on my refrigerator.
Yeah.
So I want to pass that along. Is like that's good stuff that we have people who took something from our Franklin newsletter and have it permanently on their refrigerator. Great marketing tool. We were able to get parents to use the QR code from your poster to go to the website for the coloring page. And then our trinket that we gave out to the kids was a little 3-pack of crayons that we had donated from Mary and Susie and myself. I have half a box left. So we did really good on figuring, which they were 300 per box. So we gave out a lot. And then we also had little stickers that we gave out too. So thanks to everybody who showed up. Thanks for everybody who supported it. I think it was good community engagement. And also I want to note that we asked questions of people and they a lot of times said Kayla's was their favorite park, which was super sweet because you were there. And then she was able to do some outreach for Kayla's as well. So it was a win.
And you did a great job coordinating.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Very
The
great.
decoration was awesome.
Thanks, guys. Did that. That's it.
Move to letter F, Friends of Park /
This is a leftover from the September agenda. I apologize, I don't remember exactly what the discussion had about.
Weren't you going to contact some, see what they were doing? Or did-
Yeah,
Maybe we
yeah,
already
we
talked
did talk
about
about that
Okay.
already,
Okay.
yeah. Well, it depends if we want to do start a thing on Park Watch and stuff like that. It's kind of hard because it's kind of sad that we just can't do anything because we know DPW, anything we do is work for them, like even to put signs out and stuff. So now I just feel like backing off a little. It's important to let them know who they can at least contact if they see something that's going on.
Some of the marketing material that we had at the community event had, neighborhood watch, you see something, say something,
Right.
call the cops, which are good messages in our parks.
And I don't think you really need to have like a volunteer thing. It's just anybody that's using the park if you see something. Not like start a whole.
Right.
They did, when I was doing the research too, they said to put like more garbage cans out, like at, like where they park and stuff, like when they're leaving the park, to have something that's more of those. Something, probably cameras would be helpful. Yeah, everything revolves.
Wouldn't it be better to drive people to the Citizen, what's that program through the?
It's the police academy. Citizens
Yeah.
Police.
Yeah.
So that is a good vehicle, and the whole idea is something, say something. And looking in dispatch, watching the cameras on at Kayla's 24 hours a day, and you'd be surprised how many kids are playing at night.
I thought they didn't look at them.
Well, they do.
That's right in
It
the
depends
dispatch.
on what you're looking at it for, but they are always on in the dispatch area. But having people go through the parks and just keeping an eye out for things. I go there all the time to Kayla's. I'll check the bathrooms and the library and do a walk around. And it's a good thing because at least you can see if something's starting to go amiss, and then who to call. Who do I call? Dale. So, and it's one of those driving past the parks, any of the parks. It's not the worst thing, and for people like some of us who may have a little extra time, just having a circuit. You're going to go and visit certain number of parks a week, just to kind of take a look, because it's what you see.
Well, there's a lot of people that walk their dog.
Oh, that's another.
Yeah,
And
those
don't
would
pick
be,
up after
those
them?
would be in the, yeah, they,
Most people do.
yeah.
It's
For
people
them to
with
even
dogs get a
go
bad
watch,
reputation, and I have dogs, and we pick up, and most people, I don't see people not.
I pick up too, but I always.
Well, my neighbor, she does this, she goes to Pleasant View all the time. And there's a lot of coyotes there, and they also
Yes.
do their thing.
Yeah.
And so people think that it's their dog doing this, but it's really not. It's coyotes
I think you
doing their
can
thing.
tell the difference very
But-
easily.
Yeah, but
Coyotes.
that's
is
what
all
she
full
said.
of
She
hair.
was saying that it just doesn't look like.
Yeah.
But you know what,
She's so
Mary?
funny. She cracks me up.
It's the majority do it, just like in the park with vandalism, we have those outliers that wreck it for everybody and make it look like it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a bad rap.
I didn't think they have a bad rap. Kayla's?
Kayla's gets a bad rap every once in a while.
Oh, it's Facebook community page.
Oh, well,
It's
yeah.
that one or two instances, right? I mean,
There's people
whatever.
that will complain about anything
right.
and everything.
Well, actually, they need some place to go play and stuff like that, and it's interesting. They just whine about it.
You can go to the inner city.
Yeah, go try. Yeah, go try some of those.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell them.
The ask might be
I don't
simple
even
though,
know.
because Karen had mentioned earlier before the meeting started about getting more into the newsletter articles or something.
Yeah.
What if we just got one of her graphics that say, Parks Commission, help us be the eye,
Good idea.
Yeah,
Like
she
right
has-
here.
Yeah.
Like I handed this out last time.
Yes.
So we have.
I like that with the
There
eyes.
is. Do something that, put it in the newsletter.
The newsletter is quarterly. Something to be aware of is it's single color. So, be an effort. Multiple.
Right.
But
I think you're right.
Well, I
one
can
looks
make
good
it
in black
into
and white.
black and white, I can.
So when
All
does
my
she have
life.
to send it?
they're quarterly, so, and the deadline is like, yes, I would have to double check on.
Maybe this would be a good time because we'll put it in the spring one and
Yeah.
then in summertime, it'll
Yep.
just be, making
Yeah,
an
the next
effort
one
to
is the winter
educate
one.
people that.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you don't need it for.
What do you do? Start with winter. Make sure it's in everyone.
Yeah.
If we could, that
So
might be a
are-
good idea.
Are you going to work on that
Sure, well, it's pretty much already done.
from what you had?
Yeah, but who does she give it to?
You can send it to me or.
Okay, last time I.
Who is Lisa?
Once.
She's the deputy
What's her last name?
painting.
Doing.
H-E-W-I-N-G?
H-E-U-I-N.
Yeah.
H-E-U-I-N.
Yes.
Is there a union? Is it I-N-G?
We'll move to letter G, update on trail projects.
We don't really have an update on trail projects beyond discussion, so, we can get something a little more comprehensive, but I was trying to get that ready, but.
You're
Maybe
doing good.
have somebody come here and talk to us about what's happening with this person who is outsourced to.
I think, so that was my initial request was that you come to the meeting, but since they're a contracted hour, that wasn't possible, but I think, wanted to request more information about just what's going on. Here's what I know.
Could you just give us a little summary of each little park or whatever, where they're working on these trails?
Well, like 116th, that's out for bid. The Cascade Creek one, that's on hold.
And why is that on hold?
That was an administration. Forest Home Avenue. That,
It's trail running parallel to road construction.
they did put in a small section on the southern end. The rest of it north. There's a small section that comes out where over from Church Street out Forest Home on that hill, and then it goes south down along the hill, but not north. Brian Creek you mentioned.
Yeah, that's.
Highway 100, that's going in next year. Highway 100 is going to be under construction next year from roughly 60th Loomis Road, and that path for that section will go in at that time. Following year, they're looking at doing construction north of that up to Ross. So that would be that path. That from the 116th, it's going to stay along the street. It's not going to wrap behind the cemetery there.
It's not, what's already cut down? We already made a path through the woods.
On that south end of the church property? Yeah.
We made that through there for nothing.
I do as I'm told.
Why did they drop that?
I couldn't tell you that. That was above me. Whoever made that deal. I can ask and find out for you and report back next month. I'm sure it was funding. I'm sure. Funding is dictating.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something also over there with they found something, like someone came through and did more boring, and there was something new that needed to be mitigated. So it's funding at the end of the day, but there was someone came through. It wasn't the city. I don't know if it was the DNR. Somebody came through and they did more soil boring, and there was some kind of contaminant in it. I mean, is this the right one I'm thinking of?
Yep.
Yeah. So overall, at the end, it was funding related that things kind of the brakes got pumped because of the extra mitigation piece.
I heard the tax part of it.
Excellent. Well, the next meeting will be on December 9th. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you guys in December. Thank you.